prepared for the war is of great importance for states. Strategic planning in peacetime greatly facilitates wartime operations. The states have strategic operational plans and long-term security studies. In these events of a possible war and mobilization, all institutions and authorities do what they need to do. These efforts by modern states make it much easier to overcome crises. But wars must have legitimate justifications. In cases of legitimate war and conflicts, international sanctions can be imposed. In the globalization world, the dynamics of the international relations are structured in accordance with the law. There are many treaties, conventions, and organizations that are binding on states. For this reason, the steps taken must be in accordance with the law and the structure of international relations. Otherwise, by waging a war against a single enemy, you would be taken on the great powers of the world. Attacks without legitimate grounds may be met with retaliation. In this regard, political decision-makers need to take every risk and consider every possibility. We know that Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine has provoked an international outcry. Russia's invasion was condemned by many states. Russia has been subjected to major sanctions as a result of this aggression. The sanctions imposed on Russia have many dimensions. Political sanctions and decision-taking from Putin have had a great impact on the global politics. Putin's failure to attend the conference organized in South Africa in recent weeks was the biggest indicator of these sanctions. The sanctions have also caused major economic problems for Russia. As a result of these economic sanctions, the Russian people have difficulty in meeting many of their needs and are having a hard time. The medicine problems that has emerged in recent days is getting deeper and deeper. The inability to make vital needs, such as medicines, make the people restless. Now, if you're ready, let's examine the medicine crisis in Russia together. Russia is experiencing a major shortage of medicine due to the Western sanctions imposed by Russian President Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The drug shortage is deepening day by day, and the authorities need to find a solution. Dozens of types of medicine have been sold out in Russian pharmacies this year. According to local sources, medicines used to treat diabetes and cardiovascular diseases, blood pressure medicines, antidepressants, anti-tumor medicines, antihistamines, antibiotics, antipyretics, and many other types of medicines have been sold out. While it is becoming increasingly difficult to procure medicines, the public's needs for medicine is increasing day by day. In January, a commission established by Russian Ministry of Health published a list of 97 medicines that are in short supply in Russia. It is known that new medicine have been added to the list since January. Interviews with doctors reveal the medicine shortages and raising prices. Western sanctions imposed on Russia do not actually cover pharmaceutical and medical equipment. However, logistics and supply problems in Russian market stands out as the main factor in the medicine shortage. When a major transportation and logistic companies suspended their operations in Russia, there were major breaks in the supply chain in Russia. As a result, medicines ran out and it took a long time to get new ones. The news that the NHIT agenda last week showed that there is a great shortage of antidepressant medicine in Russia. Feeling the psychological impact of the war, the Russian people increased the use of antidepressant drugs. Meeting the high demands has become increasingly difficult. The medicine shortage is also being experienced in another type of medicine used to treat high blood pressure, heart failure, and diabetic kidney disease. The withdrawal of the pharmaceutical companies from Russia takes the crisis to a different level. According to the information obtained, it was revealed that only 23,000 packages of the medicine we are talking about remained in Russia. Search shows that there is a medicine shortage in almost all pharmacies in Russia, stating that antibiotics and cancer medicine cannot be found throughout the country. Citizens want the authorities to intervene in this issue. An official from the Russian Federal Health Service said in a statement that there will be delays in delivery due to logistics problems. Dr. Alexander Vanyukov, a doctor working in Russia, said that Russian people are looking for medicines and have great difficulties in accessing the medicines that they want. Vanyukov said that even alternative medicines is insufficient at some points. He explained that the reason for this is the prolonged delivery times and the expiration of the shelf life of the medicine during the journey. As the medicine shortage depends, the people of Russia could not no longer access medicines and started to express their reactions on social media. Russian citizens who say that medicines are offered for sale at a very high prices and illegally seems to be very complaining about the situation. The Kremlin administration, which does not take into account the negative effects of the war on the lives of the Russian people, attracts a lot of reaction. Due to the aggressive attitude of the Kremlin administration, many pharmaceutical companies operating in Russia withdrew from the country. The people of Russia who are trying to procure medicines from neighboring countries have started to have a very difficult time at this point. Ukrainian counterattacks had targeted Russia's strategic points since the first days of the war. As a result of the Ukrainian attacks, Russia's logistic networks almost collapsed. With the collapse of the logistic network, the problems grew exponentially. At the end of the day, even access to basic resources became difficult in Russia. While the Kyiv administration continues its determined counterattacks, it welcomes the new support packages announced. The Danish and the Norwegian authorities announced that the tanks and equipments will be sent to Ukraine. In a statement made by the Danish Defense Ministry, it was stated that Ukraine will receive 15 modernized T-72 tanks and 30 Leopard tanks. The Copenhagen administration also announced that additional weapons, ammunition, and demining equipments will be sent to Ukraine. In statements, the Norwegian Defense Ministry announced the new support packages to be given to Ukraine. Announcing the donation of the 50 tracked cargo carriers, the Norwegian authorities stated that the support will continue. This type of tracked cargo carrier vehicles are known for their ability to maneuver on terrain inaccessible to wheeled vehicles. The Norwegian government announced that the cargo carriers can carry ammunition, food, and water to Ukrainian troops on the ground. The Norwegian government had provided significant support to Ukraine in these previous days. This includes land-based air defense system and battle tanks. Norway is also one of the countries providing F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. In a meeting with Ukraine and other military partners, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that American M1 Abrams tanks are expected to be delivered to Ukraine soon. The tanks were expected to be used by the Ukrainian army to break the Russian front lines. The U.S. has also recently provided the Ukrainian army with the tanks training. As a result, the support packages to Ukraine are expected to give the Ukrainian army advantages in the war. How do you assess the medicine shortage in Russia? Who you think is responsible for the medicine shortage in Russia? How do you assess the collapse of Russia's logistic network? How do you assess the impact of the hardship of the war on the people of Russia? Do you think the aid packages sent to Ukraine will be advantageous? We value your opinion. Please share it with us.